Hello everyone, welcome beloveds to another Divine Power Life. I don't even know which episode it is, and I have not put a title today because I really felt guided to just allow myself to be a pure channel for what wants to come through. Especially because I am in this current process of allowing myself to be emptied out in order to really come into more clarity and openness to transmit what wants to be said. And to any one of you who is joining, hello. Please share where you're joining from. Would love to see you, see your little name pop up here. So basically, it's been this really deep journey of releasing the layers and the layers and the layers of the stories and the conditions, and I guess this is a lifelong journey, right? But I feel in this process, eventually we are going to reach a point of refinement from which we are able to discern when we are speaking from our heart and from our soul and from our true, authentic voice, or when it's still tainted and filtered through other things, through other layers. That may be our insecurities, that may be our beliefs of what we believe we should do or should say, and that's myself included in those last months where I was going through this journey and I was offering things that I felt people would feel attracted to that, and I saw that's as well something that people need, and I know that was something that I'm quite good at as well in my thing in supporting people and balancing their feminine and masculine, their business, and in coming into owning their voice and their authenticity, because it's something that I have been on myself, and I have another business that is running quite well, and I thought, yeah, that's something I can definitely support people in and all that, let's do it. So I went ahead, and yet with everything that I was creating, there was just an underlying energy that there's just something that didn't feel in full alignment. And I've been as well working with some mentors and business coaches and like taking their advice and doing the things until I as well realized that this is just not me. That's just not what I came here to do, and that's not the way how I came here to share. And yet everything I learned on this journey has been really amazing, because I'm sure there's a lot that I will be able to use further down the line. But underlyingly, I just felt this deep calling of my soul and of the years of initiation that I went through in this lifetime and all the other lifetimes, and of the ancientness of the coding that is held within me and that wants to be expressed so it can activate the ancient memory and that ancient coding and all the other beings that I am meant to be working with, that I am meant to be talking to, that I am meant to be transmitting to. And anyone who is on this path is going to understand that, not necessarily through my words, but through the frequency that is coming through my words. And I was just reading your comment. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. And it's such a deep journey to allow myself to come into this deep space of vulnerable authenticity and to just transmit what wants to be said, rather than to create a framework of what I think people want and what I should say and what I'm as well good at and all of that, which as well as of service is not good or bad, but it's more about that higher wisdom and coding of my soul that I came here to embody as a sacred mission and a sacred service to life and to love. It's like a deep, deep Dharma embedded in my being that is here to be transmitted, to activate that wisdom within all of us, that lives within all of us. And some of us are going to be ready to really receive that on a deep, deep level in the deeper work with me. And some of us maybe just want to listen, and some will be like, okay, that's not what I want right now. I want something else. I want something more palpable. And that's okay. But at that point, I'm not able to serve anything else but the highest truth that wants to be spoken through my being. And that is really the initiation into that inner mystic union. For when we come from that space when nothing else matters anymore, but it is literally just love transmitting to itself. And it's just love speaking to the love within all of us. And it's not even about the words anymore, but it's about the frequency that is transmitted through the words and through the vessel. And holding that deep, deep wisdom and living in that and moving from that in every step of whatever it is that we do. And it's not necessary that we are working in the field of healing and leading, but most of the people I believe that I am going to draw into my field and work with are probably going to be in that. But it can be in anything else. It can be in how do we mother, and with all respect to all mothers, because I don't have any children, so I can't speak so much to that, but it's just more an example of how are we in our relationship, how do we speak to our beloveds, how do we engage with them and interact with them, and do we always come back to that initial space of our inner inherent divinity. And that inner inherent divinity is not something that we need to do all these things for to get there. I mean, and then within that maybe sometimes we do because we have forgotten, but it's not like an energy that is sitting on a pedestal and we need like all these activations and all these plant medicine ceremonies and all these like gurus and stuff. And I have done all the things and they have as well helped me on my path, but in the same time, like what I come to realize, that is just something very, very simple that we are, that lives within all of us. And then with that as well, we are human beings that came here to have a human experience that sometimes can be intense, that can be messy, that can be fucked up, that can be all the things. And that itself, I find, is so important and essential to remember in order to stay in our divine humility of knowing that we are humans and divine. And that for me is the mystic union, is when we are able to love our human parts, when we are able to allow ourselves to be deeply human and with that fallible, and in the same time don't take ourselves so serious and realize that we as well are this higher intelligence. And it's not just a mental thing, it's an embodied knowing. And in my experience, the way how I have been coming into that space more and more and more is by really truly going deep into the shadow and the depth dimension and allowing myself to feel all the things and to work deeply with the trauma and deeply with the shame and the anger and the unworthiness and the everything that can be there. And then from that space to open the chalice of our root, sacral and solar plexus, the 3 lower chakras, which is as well the chalice of our womb, which counts for man and woman, because we all have a womb and an energetic womb, and we all come from the womb. And as we open and purify that chalice, there's more space for our divinity to incarnate into our vessel and to feel safe. And that's something that I have been working with my students with, and supporting that opening and holding space for that deep process of the descension of the soul into our human being and that sacred marriage and that sacred union. And so we can walk as that. And it's so simple. It's not like this higher galactic thing on a pedestal. It's like a really simple embodied experience where everything just becomes crystalline and very clear around us, and where everything becomes very still and present. And in the same time, as I said before, our human is there, and triggers will be there, and the things will be there that are there. So how do we work with that? Because at the end, what I have come to realize is that this entire journey is not really about becoming divine, because we already are divine, but it's about the divine becoming deeply human and being able to be deeply human and to be able to love all the things that we really hate about ourselves, perhaps about the world. And in the same, like, and through, again, as I said before, that love, to be able to love, is not a mental thing. It's a heart thing, and it's a journey. And it's not about perfection. It's not, the divine is not about trying to be perfect. The mystic union and those, you know, the words that we sometimes throw around, it's not perfection, but it's just returning to our inherent innocence, just like children. And if we watch children play, they're so innocent. They're not trying to be perfect. They're not trying to be better. They're just themselves until, you know, they're conditioned. When they start to learn to walk, and I always just love this example, they're walking and they're falling down, and then they're standing up, and then they're falling down, and then they're standing up, and they are not believing that it's wrong or that they're failing until we are conditioned into that. So I feel that's something so important, because it's like releasing all these preconceptions around what our divinity is, and remembering that it is a state of consciousness. It's a frequency that is always here available to all of us. And then there are so many other frequencies that we may as well resonate with and play into at times. And then it's about learning to understand how do we want to alchemize those frequencies into the higher chakras and the higher wisdom. And that's what my work is here. You know, I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying we have to. Some people want to stay in those frequencies. That's fine. We all can do whatever we want. But in my experience and in what I know and in my initiations of my life, it has always been the initiation to alchemize into that higher frequencies and to stabilize in there and to live from there. And then from that space, we really create our reality. And we really, it's not only our reality, it's not like I'm creating my little reality, but I'm supporting in the ascension of all of life and of humanity. So, you know, that's like the highest goal that I believe we all ultimately hold in our hearts, because ultimately we are all connected on some level. Right? So it's that beautiful dance between the dark and the light and the Shiva and the Shakti, and in the same time, like as well, just allowing ourselves to just have fun and not take it so serious neither, while we are deeply serving and deeply loving and deeply in the same time just playing and having the best time and just, you know, joking and doing, understanding that it's really not that serious, because there was as well a time in my life where I used to take it so serious, and I'd just be like, I can only wear white and I can never drink a glass of wine, and I need to do all these things, and I need to talk this way, and I need to be this way. And it was just like, because I believed that was true and I did it, and it felt so constricting. You know, and I was part of this spiritual community that was kind of community / cult, and we were doing all these things and like doing all these missions, and it was like so serious. And then that, it just was weird, honestly. It's not like, yes, everything has a place, and the work we do is actually deeply important and very powerful. And in the same time, it is as well so important to remember that at the end we are humans, and we came here to play and to enjoy and to have the best time and to have desires and to follow them and to work with them. And then in the same time to inquire deeply into them. Where do they come from and why are they here? And that's as well the work that I do with my students, because so often we don't really realize, is this a desire coming from a wounded space and from my pain, or is this actually coming from my soul? And it's been a journey myself I've been as well on for so long, continuously refining. And when we come into that deeper inner wholeness and alchemizing into the upper chakras, it becomes really clear when a desire comes from a lower place. Or often it's as well a mixed thing, because it's coming from our soul, but then there's as well that lack. And we want to heal that lack so that you can really manifest and create what you want from a space of wholeness and joy and fun and love. Right? Because that lack ultimately is not real. It's not real. We've been conditioned into it from the moment of conception, the moment of when we were in the wombs of our mothers, and from birth. And it's really, really deep and traumatizing and painful and sad, that separation. And in the same time, it can be healed, because it's not who we truly are, but it's just an idea. And that's the journey, and that's my work, and that's what I am devoting myself to, and what brings me truly the greatest joy and the greatest passion. And I really deeply as well believe that when we come into that space, that everything that we want to create and manifest in our life is naturally going to drop into place in the divine timing and in the way that the divine is orchestrating it. So, no, we don't always need to chase the next thing with that. Okay, beautiful beings. Yeah, as I said before, I'm currently in this refinement process myself of as well allowing my channel to crystallize and be able to translate this very clear frequency that I'm experiencing inside myself and that I'm seeing and that I'm knowing that is here to serve. And how do I translate that into words? Because I know that we love words and words are really important and needed. And in the same time, I know that the one of you who are sensitive, they can already feel it without the words, right? But both are so important, and I understand that, and it's part of my own crystallization process currently. So yeah, let's see how it's going to manifest and transform and alchemize and express. And I'm as well so grateful to always be here with you all in this group. I always love coming on Tuesdays, so I'm definitely going to continue to do that. And let me know how this all feels for you, if you can relate, if there's anything that that you want to share as well. If you're watching the replay, please comment. I always love to read your comments, and I will see you next week. Bye, and so much love.